Hi everyone, this is Dr. Kim Sanders of ArthroWell Naturopathic. So like us on Facebook, just search ArthroWell Naturopathic, and you can also follow us on Instagram at ArthroWell. And so as I posted on the Facebook group today, which our Facebook group is called Research on Natural Medicine for Autoimmune Disease. So if you're interested in joining our Facebook group, if you're not already a member, Research on Natural Medicine for Autoimmune Disease, a whole lot of articles and other kinds of information. So I had reached out to our members to ask some questions that you guys want to know about CBD. And so that's really what we're talking about today. So I'm going to get to all those. I just want to go over a little bit about it. And so basically, it's the full name for it is cannabidiol. And so it's a constituent of the hemp plant. And so most of the products that are legal in the United States to take that are called CBD are coming from hemp. The reason why it's associated with marijuana is because it's also found in that plant. It's a very similar relative to hemp, but the products that you're getting when you buy CBD oil are derived from hemp. And so sometimes they'll be called hemp oil. And so it's a constituent. There are many, many constituents in the hemp plant. The CBD is the one getting the most fame. THC is another constituent, which is in a much higher concentration in the marijuana plant, but there's also some found in the hemp plant. And so these are all just various constituents of hemp. And so CBD is getting a lot of fame, as it should, because it does so many activities in the body, and we're talking today specifically about how it affects autoimmune patients. It does a lot of other things for other conditions, but I specialize in autoimmune, so I'm just kind of touching on how it affects autoimmune patients. So it does not have the same hallucinogenic qualities as THC. CBD, it does not. It is psychoactive, meaning it does work on the brain in positive ways. Unlike THC, it doesn't create any of that hallucinogenic effect. And so that's a big difference. One of the user questions from Angela was about the difference between THC and CBD. And so CBD you can take, it's safe for kids. It won't show up on a drug test because it is different than THC. It won't show up. Drug tests are generally testing for THC. And it won't have any hallucinogenic effects. You can still go about your daily activities. You can, operate a motor vehicle, all of those kinds of things. THC has some research on its effects. People who get medical marijuana, they're using it for the THC. But you can get a lot of the benefits of CBD. So we're finding that CBD has a lot of benefit without having to go through the hoops of jumping to get a medical marijuana card. But you might want to consider actual medical marijuana if you've tried CBD and you're not noticing any improvements. So in our own brain, we actually make what are called endocannabinoids. They're made from healthy fats, and so that gives you a little clue about how you can make your own endocannabinoids without having to take anything on the outside. You can actually enhance your body's own ability to make them itself. And you can do that by ensuring you've got good healthy fats, since that's how our body actually makes them. And so they basically help to regulate a cell. When a cell is either overactive or underactive or inflamed, these cannabinoids in our body, they bind onto those receptors and they bring the cells back to balance. And so for autoimmune patients, that's a really nice, because the body is overactive, the immune system is overactive. And so it does make sense to have some kind of active ingredient that brings the immune system back to balance. The other benefit of CBD for autoimmune patients is that it is anti-inflammatory. And so that's a really important effect, right? Because we do want to reduce inflammation when we have disease. That's one of the most important goals, right? Is to control inflammation. It also has a lot of effects on stress and anxiety, so we recommend it a lot for that because, in my experience, most autoimmune patients have some level of stress, anxiety, depression, just various types of mood dysregulation. So if there's that layer to it, along with the pain from the inflammation, I use it for that too, and especially if there's insomnia related to then some of those issues. So it can be used for all of that. So inflammation, pain relief, anxiety, and again, I see so many autoimmune patients with that constellation. They have pain, they're inflamed, they're feeling anxious, and so it's a really wonderful choice. It reduces certain cytokines, And so part of what I do in my practice is test for your genetic predisposition to make too many cytokines, which are inflammatory chemicals, things called interleukin-6, tumor necrosis. So if any of those words are familiar to you, those are cytokines. And so if, let's say, we find on a test that you have more interleukin-6, let's just say, CBD actually can lower interleukin-6. And so it's a really good choice if you're fitting that particular picture, which is something we can test you for even if you're not a patient. We can order that for you. But a lot of the research on CBD is showing for pain and anxiety. So really, if there's those two main symptoms, that's when you really want to try thinking about it. And so one of the main questions I got on the Facebook group, I'm just pulling it up here, was about how to choose the right product when shopping for it. There are just so many options out there. The most important thing, in my opinion, is to choose a broad spectrum product. What that means is that it doesn't just have CBD, but it has all other parts of the plant. So in botanical medicine and in naturopathic medicine, we never recommend extracting one aspect out of a plant and leaving behind all of the other parts of the plant. We believe that nature has the wisdom, and in the whole plant are there many, many constituents that all work together. And we see that with CBD. So if you take a product that's just CBD, that's been extracted, you're going to have to take 10 times, and literally, I'm not exaggerating, 10 times the dose to get the same effect. So how do you know if your product is not broad spectrum? Well, it'll say on the label, it won't say broad spectrum. And look at the doses. If it's saying that each cap is 200 milligrams, that's a very high dose, and that tells you that it's not the full product. Because if you get the broad spectrum product, all of the other parts of the plant, such as the terpenes, for example, there are so many other constituents, so many other cannabinoids besides CBD. CBD has sisters, many others. So you want a broad spectrum product would have all of that. And so basically, if you get a broad spectrum product, you need to take much less. You'll get the same effect for taking like 20 milligrams. So if you see that your particular product is about 15 to 20 milligrams per serving, and it says broad spectrum, you can be pretty sure that it's got the other parts of the plant. I recommend only one particular brand at this point in time. It's the one that I've seen the best success with, and I work with autoimmune patients specifically, and so I have chosen this product because it seems to be the most effective for autoimmune patients, and the brand is Designs for Health. And so I'm offering, there's a discount. You can get it at this website. Oops, sorry, if you can see that. drsanders.pro. And you have to sign up for an account, and that's where we can get some discounted CBD, which is the Designs for Health brand, which is the only one that I'm really recommending at this point in time for autoimmune patients. And so when you go to that site, to drsanders.ehealthpro.com, we have two different products, Cannab-FS and Cannab-Omega. The second one, the one is nice. It's combined with omega-3 so that you can take that instead, you can consolidate. That way you don't have to take extra omegas on the side, especially if you have extra inflammation or pain. That could be a great choice. But the Cannab-FS is, there's a liquid and a cap, and you can just pick which one works best for you. The liquid definitely has a strong taste, so be aware. The capsule will be, if you have a sensitive palate, you might want to choose the cap. And so we'll talk about dosing in just a second. But so again, the reason I recommend this brand, number one, I specialize in autoimmune. I've seen this work really well for autoimmune people, but it's broad spectrum. We know for sure it's got all of those other constituents, which means that the actual CBD will work so much better because it works in synergy with the other constituents of the plant. Super important. Stay away from CBD extracts that are just CBD. So what would be some side effects to look out for? That was one of the questions. So I'll talk about the main ones. Of course, anything can be a side effect. I could spend the whole time just talking about that. But here are the main ones. Fatigue, GI symptoms like diarrhea, loss of appetite. Those would be your main ones, but mostly fatigue and diarrhea will be, or GI type issues will be the main ones. It usually means you're taking too much. So if that happens, just cut your dose in half and work back up. But those would be the main side effects. There are a lot of drug interactions though, so if you do take a lot of prescriptions, it's probably best to consult with one of our doctors, whether it's myself or my associate, Dr. LaRosa. And again, you can reach us at Arthro Naturopathic, and we do a lot of telemedicine. So basically that means we just hop on the phone or Skype with you, and we can do a CBD consult, and that way we can actually go over your medications and just make sure there's no interactions, because do keep in mind there are actually drug interactions. You do have to be careful. So check with your naturopathic doctor, but we specialize in this for autoimmune, going over the interactions. So contact our office, we'll do a consult. So anyway, so now dosing. So we generally recommend start with 15 milligrams, 15 milligrams, and work up. But 15 milligrams, give it 2 weeks. And you could take it at nighttime if your main symptom is anxiety and insomnia. But you can also try that during the day if your main symptom is pain and anxiety during the day. Start low. It's better to start low. Give it about 2 weeks. If after 2 weeks you're not noticing much, then double it. Then you can go to 30. Again, give that 2 weeks. And if you're not noticing anything, go up to 50. So that's really where you would try to max out. And you should notice after about a month of that dose that you really should start noticing something. If you're not noticing anything after a month and you're at that high dose, it might not be the right fit for you. There's a lot of variability in this. So again, you can consult with myself or with Dr. LaRosa. We do offer online consults, which are short and less expensive, of course. So you can certainly contact us. We're happy to walk you through all of that. So let's see if I answered all your questions. Just checking, make sure I'm getting all the questions in. Oh, someone asked if it can affect blood pressure and heart rate. It may have a slight hypotensive effect, meaning it lowers the blood pressure and heart rate, not necessarily directly, but more so by reducing stress and anxiety. Shouldn't be anything detrimental, but again, if you take hypertensive medication, let's say you take a drug for lowering your blood pressure, you might want to consult with your doctor. And someone put about applying topically. I find it works best taking it internally, but some people swear by putting it on. I just haven't noticed too much when people do that, but you could do both. I mean, I would say that's probably the best bet. So again, my name's Dr. Sanders. Here's how you can reach me. Like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. Here's that website to get the discounted CBD. The discount is automatically applied to anybody who goes to that link, drsanders.ehealthpro.com. And when you get to that site, here's what you're searching for. If you have any questions, please let me know.